The Orlando Magic just simply have to be the least lucky team in basketball so far this season. I mean, another torn oblique, another freak injury. Franz Wagner now expected to be out for quite a while. Says he'll be reevaluated in 4 weeks. Looking at the Paolo Banchero timeline, you're probably looking at him being out for probably 2 months. This is really, really unfortunate for the Magic, who have been having a good year and have been really, really competitive despite not having Paolo Banchero past the first 5 games of the season. And now Paulo's out for another month. Franz is out for another 2 months. They're in a rough spot in terms of their scoring ability. Now, this is a team that wins games with their defense, and they're really going to have to win games with their defense as well as find some real scoring, because they're in trouble without Paolo and Franz, in my personal opinion. Just don't feel super confident about this team right now. And this injury is a huge, huge blow for this Orlando Magic team. Before we hop into the video and discuss, if y'all haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 1,000 subscriber mark on the channel. We're right there. By the time y'all watch this video, we might even hit it. But if we haven't, even if we have, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Uploading multiple NBA videos every day. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. So first things first, the Magic have been having a great year, man. They're 16-9, pretty competitive so far this year, a 4.5 net rating, 7 of their last 10 games they have won. They're playing really good basketball. They're one of the best defensive teams in the league, and they are playing really, really well. The problem is, without Franz, without Paolo, if we look at their next month or so of games, a lot of tough matchups in here. Phoenix, Milwaukee, OKC, Miami, Boston, Miami again, New York again, Minnesota, Milwaukee again. I mean, you get through about middle of January, which is probably around when we'll see Paolo Banchero back. They have a really pretty tough schedule up until then, especially without their 2 best scorers. I think the Magic are going to be in a really tough spot because, look, 16-9, the way they've been playing this year, the idea was 100% that they were going to be able to be a top 4 seed in the East, secure home court advantage for the first round of the playoffs, and be in a super solid, comfortable spot. I know they're 7 games over 500 in a weak East, and that's going to do them some favors over the next month for sure. But I think they're in much more danger now, especially with a team like the Hawks playing really well. Even the Bucks, I know they've lost a couple games recently and some tough competition against the Hawks and the Celtics, but they've looked much better as of late as well. Even the Heat are starting to play better. Like, I think all of those teams could now start to threaten the Magic over these next couple months and put them in a much more precarious situation for, number one, trying to get home court advantage, but number 2, even staying out of the play-in. So this is a really tough spot for the Magic, and they cannot afford to go on some huge slump and lose 10 of the next 15 games, because that will put them in a much tougher spot when it comes to playoff positioning this year, I guess I should say. And it could theoretically even get worse than that, to be completely honest. When you look at the Magic stats, obviously they win with defense, right? They don't win with offense. They have the 3rd lowest defensive rating in the league, certainly one of the best teams in the league, a team that very much takes pride in the defensive end of the court. You can tell that's something that Jamal Mosley and the coaching staff in Orlando, who have done a great job, really pride themselves on and want their team to pride themselves on. And they've been playing, I really do believe, very, very well, but they're already not a very good offensive team. I mean, so far this season, you have to keep in mind, Paolo has only played 5 games, but they're the 7th worst offensive rating in the entire league. Still, overall, not a particularly good offense. And when you look at the numbers, I mean, Paolo isn't going to be out for another month. That's 29 points per game, 25 plus per game since Franz Wagner took over as the number 1 option when Paolo went out. Has been having himself a really good year, despite the fact that his 3-point shooting efficiency has gone down as of late. And you look at this team and you really just have to wonder where the offense is going to come from. Like, I feel like this is going to be one of the biggest moments of Jalen Suggs' career, because he needs to be an offensive primary option in a way that he has never been really close to in the NBA. But they're going to be really reliant on guys like him, Kentavious-Caldwell Pope, Wendell Carter Jr. to take another step offensively and get back to where he was maybe a couple of years ago. Mo Wagner's having a good year, but they're going to need him to be even better. Like, they're very reliant on guys that are not really great offensive players. Like Anthony Black is not a great shooter. A lot of these guys in general that they're going to be reliant on are not having great shooting seasons. I mean, KCP is below 30% from 3. Suggs is at 31.5. Wendell Carter Jr. is less than 20%. Anthony Black's less than 26. Tristan DeSilva's having a decent rookie year in his own right, but they're just really, really reliant on a lot of guys who are not elite offensive players, certainly not primary options, and are having very inefficient shooting seasons. And with the Magic already being one of the worst offensive teams in the league, I think that this team could take a massive, massive hit without Franz Wagner and Paulo Banchero over the next month. And I mean, they're not going to have Franz for 2. So even when Paulo comes back, things are still, I think, going to be a challenge in a lot of ways on the offensive end of the court at times. I mean, even Franz's playmaking, 5.5 assists plus per game, over 6 since Paulo went out, I believe. They're going to have to find offense from somewhere, from some passing and some playmaking and scoring. Like, where is all that stuff going to come from on this Magic roster? And honestly, I don't really know. Like, I'm kind of at a loss for how this Magic team is going to score the ball right now. They're a team, by the way, just dark horse throwing this out there. If the Bulls are looking to make some trades and get worse, I would be calling the Bulls about Zach LaVine if I was the Orlando Magic. They are a great defensive team, and they need some scoring. LaVine could come in and bring them that extra shot making, shot creation, and scoring ability that they are sorely lacking on this roster right now. And I don't think he would hurt them defensively enough to offset the scoring that he can provide. And I think in the Orlando Magic system, he might find himself a bit more reinvigorated defensively as well, and may not be as bad of a defender. So that's a guy I would low key, if I was the Magic, like right now would be a great time to call up the Bulls and see what their thoughts are on trading Zach LaVine. That's just my thought, because he's a guy who I actually think could help that roster down the stretch of this year as well offensively. But honestly, here's the truth, y'all. Let's look at the numbers this year. Franz Wagner, 17.5 points per 100 possessions better are the Orlando Magic with Franz on the court. Over 12 points per possession offensively and about 5 points per possession defensively better are the Magic with Franz Wagner on the court this season, which puts him in the 99th percentile. He has been one of the most important players in the league this year, having a legitimate all-star season, and has been by far the biggest reason that the Magic are still the 3 seed in the East and have been as good as they have been, despite, again, not having Paulo Banchero for 4/5 of their season so far. Without him, and without Paulo still for a while as well, the Magic are in real trouble because, look, I was just sitting here looking at some of these Orlando Magic lineup stats, and you look at all the good lineups for the Magic. Most of the good lineups are Franz Wagner, plus 32. This is a Franz Wagner lineup, plus 41 points per 100 possessions. That's a Franz Wagner lineup. Now, I get a lot of these lineups have not been on the court for a ton of possessions, but another big positive, that's a Franz Wagner lineup. Another positive, that's a Franz Wagner lineup. The positive, Franz Wagner. All of their really good lineups. And this is the first lineup, only 22 possessions played together all season, that has a significantly positive differential per 100 possessions at all. Without Franz Wagner. And you just can go through here and see this team has been so reliant on Franz Wagner in so many ways this season. And now with him out, in addition to Paulo, they're going to be in a really, really tough spot offensively over these next couple weeks. And it's going to be really interesting to see if the Magic can stay afloat at all and keep themselves in the conversation for home court advantage in the Eastern Conference. So they're a fun team to watch. I've been rooting for the Magic this year. I feel like they're kind of that under the radar team that everybody who's like a neutral fan is kind of rooting for this season in the East, the same way that like the Rockets are in the West. But it's going to be tough for them to keep this up, I think, without their 2 superstars. And I hope they can, but the Magic are super unlucky. I feel bad for them as a franchise, and we'll see. Maybe they'll surprise me, but I think we could be looking at a pretty precipitous downturn for the Orlando Magic here in the near future. I hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure y'all hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more NBA content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.